Positioning the car correctly is a skill every driver needs to master, but it's not always as easy as it sounds. Some people grasp road positioning immediately, while others take time to get the hang of it. If you are struggling with road positioning, you are not alone. Hundreds of other learner drivers are also working to improve this skill. In this video, we will cover the following: where to look when driving, how to steer on straight roads, the importance of staying calm, using your knee to help with road positioning, using side mirrors to help with road positioning, and we will also discuss some additional reference points that can help you improve your road position. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Now, let's first look at the most critical aspect of road positioning and driving in general: your vision. Where you look is the single most important factor in determining your road position. When driving, you need to remember to look at where you want the car to go and then steer the car so that it goes there. A common mistake among learner drivers is to focus on what they are afraid of hitting. In other words, focusing on the problem instead of the solution. This doesn't work well because our brains are trained to direct us towards what we are looking at. Typically, our eyes naturally focus on where we want the car to go, and this information is communicated to our brain, allowing us to take necessary actions like steering, braking, or accelerating. However, if you are looking at the wrong place, your brain can get confused, leading to mistakes. So when driving, it's crucial to fix your eyes on where you want your car to go and steer towards that direction. Remember, don't focus on what you are afraid of hitting, the problem, but instead look at the solution, where you want the car to go. For example, if I fix my eyes on the line on the right for too long, I will likely drift to the right. And if I focus on the curb on the left out of fear of hitting it, I will likely drift to the left. To avoid this, I keep my eyes on the path I want to follow and steer accordingly. Here's a bend coming up, so I look as far ahead as possible, keeping my head and torso centered, and I continue to steer towards the bend. It's also important to wait until I reach the bend before steering. Steering too early or too late can result in poor positioning. Once I'm in the bend, I shift my focus further ahead to ensure I'm ready for what comes up next. Now that we've covered where to look, the next important thing in good road positioning is staying calm. I know, it's easier said than done, but one thing you have to try and do when learning to drive is control your nerves. When people are nervous behind the wheel, they tend to make jerky, abrupt steering movements, accelerate excessively, grip the steering wheel too tightly, and more, all of which can affect road positioning. Staying calm is crucial for maintaining proper road positioning. Here are some tips to help you stay calm while driving. Number 1. Take deep breath, inhaling slowly through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. You can use this breathing technique at traffic lights, stop sign, or before moving off from the side of the road. Number 2. Use mindfulness techniques to focus on the present moment and your surroundings. If your mind starts to wander, bring your attention back by, for example, checking your speed, your hand position on the steering wheel, or the mirrors. Number 3. Plan ahead. If you see an obstacle that might affect your road position, deal with it early rather than waiting until the last moment. Number 4. Ensure you get enough rest at night before your driving lesson. Being well rested helps you stay alert and calm. Now that we've talked about where to look and how to stay calm, let's look at one more tip: aligning yourself and the steering wheel with the center of the lane. This technique is especially useful when driving on marked roads. To help with road positioning, you can align your torso, your head, and the steering wheel in the center of the lane. For example, when driving on multi-lane roads, if you align your torso and head with the middle of the lane, you are more likely to maintain a good road position. Look far through the middle of the windscreen, focus on where you want the car to go, and steer accordingly. Another practical tip that works for a lot of drivers is using your knee as a guide. If you are struggling to keep the car centered in the lane, imagine an invisible line running along the center of the lane. If we extend this line, you can see that the line crosses your left knee. To stay centered, align your knee with this imaginary line. In countries where people drive on the left-hand side, like here in Australia, align your left knee with the center of the lane. Conversely, in countries where they drive on the right-hand side, like Europe or America, align your left knee with the center line. This technique works well on single-lane roads, multi-lane roads, and even around bends. However, don't drive staring at your knee, which can result in a major driving error. Your focus should be on where you want the car to go, and use your peripheral vision to check your knee's position while keeping your eyes focused on where you want the car to go. Peripheral vision is a topic for another day, but basically you should be able to see your knee in the corners of your eyes without turning your head. You are aware of your knee position using your peripheral vision. One other thing that can be helpful is to use side mirrors to help with road positioning. Side mirrors plays an important role in driving, and they can also help you manage your road position. However, when using the side mirrors, it's crucial to avoid a bad habit known as staring. We don't want to stare at the mirror for more than a second or two, because doing so can cause you to lose situational awareness. Quick glances are enough to get the information you need. As a driver, you should set up your side mirrors so that both door handles are visible. In some cars with smaller mirrors, you might only be able to see the rear door handle. Also adjust your mirrors so that you can see a balance of the road, the skies, trees, or horizon, whatever is in your surroundings. For example, let's say you are driving in a residential area. If you glance at the left side mirror and notice that you are too far from the curb, you will need to adjust your position. Another example, if you are driving on a marked road, you can glance at the right side mirror, then quickly look ahead, and then glance at the left side mirror. By now, you should be able to tell whether you are centered in your lane or not. But remember, when using your mirrors, keep the glances brief, no more than a second or two. As we discussed earlier, where you look is where the car tends to go. So if you stare at the left side mirror for too long, the car will start drifting to the left. And if you stare at the right side mirror for too long, the car will drift to the right. The last tip is to use some reference points to help with road positioning. When it comes to slow speed maneuvers like turning or parking, reference points are incredibly helpful. They help us achieve consistent results when parking and making turns. You can also use reference points to manage your road position. I made a video on this channel about pulling over next to the curb without stopping too far away or hitting it. In that video, I talked about using a point near the middle of the windscreen wipers to stop perfectly next to the curb. I will include the link to that video in the description section below. What's interesting is that you can use the same reference point to manage your road position. For example, if you notice that this point on the windscreen is near the curb or the line, it means you have good road position. However, if this point is directly on the curb or the line or has passed it, it means you are getting too close to the edge of the lane and you should make minor adjustment to return to a safe position. If there are parked vehicles on one side of the road, you have to leave about a meter from the parked car, so the reference point on the left should not go anywhere near or past the parked cars on the left. If the cars are parked on both sides of the street, remember to avoid staring too long at either the left or the right. You need to place your car in the middle of the two parked cars, essentially treating them as the lines. For example, make sure the left reference point doesn't get too close to the cars on the left, and it should not go anywhere near or past them. This will help you stay safely in the middle. Here are some mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, staring at the right or the left for too long. Always look at where you want the car to go and steer accordingly. Mistake number 2, driving in the middle of unmarked road can become a bad habit, so always avoid it and make sure that you keep left. Mistake number 3, overcorrecting when driving on straight roads. This is usually caused by too much steering. Mistake number 4, steering too early or too late when approaching a bend. All these tips work well, so pick what works best for you and stick with it. For example, I prefer looking at where I want the car to go and steer accordingly. When in doubt, especially when driving a car that I'm not used to, I sometimes combine the knee method with quick glances on the left and right as well as the mirrors. If you enjoyed watching this video, then you might also like this one where I go through the top 10 reasons for failing a driving test. Keep practicing and stay positive. You'll get your license in no time. Thanks for watching.